Did you see the recent video I put out? Me cleaning the grave and the spirit calling me fat?
Somebody else called you fat?
Oh, yeah. I'm sitting. I just got done cleaning. It wasn't the spirit of the grave I cleaned. I don't know what spirit it was. I'm sitting there, I just got done cleaning the grave. I'm talking to everybody. And then all of a sudden, it just straight up was like,
John, you are fat. Are you kidding me? Spirit, that wasn't nice.
like, I just got done cleaning the grave and you're going to call me fat? You're going to
These
insult
guys are
me?
rude, dude. I don't know, man. When you're getting called fat from the other side, that's a whole new level of hazing.
Yeah, it used to happen to me a lot.
How do you cope with that?
It depends. It depends on my mood. Like, I had this one viral video where I'm sitting out in the field here, which has a lot of activity and whatnot. Not. And Spirit straight up was like, "Yo, you're fat. You need to go to the gym." And the
Offended.
I wasn't too offended. It's not like I'm like ginormous. There are definitely people bigger than me.
When people make fun of me, I change everything about myself. I can't
Do you
handle it.
really? No, I can care less. People make fun of me, I laugh.
No, man. Somebody once made fun of me for wearing my Apple Watch out and had the band that it came with. They're like, "Oh, what a dad watch." And I immediately went out and bought like 6 different bands to make it look less like an Apple Watch.
You got them dad vibes, bro.
Welcome to Splintered Spirits, a podcast hosted by me, Gary, and my nephew Johnny, where I follow Johnny as he tries to prove his theory that ghosts are the fractured memories of the living. In this episode, I'm going to walk Johnny through my discussion with Loyd Auerbach, aka Professor Paranormal, on some steps we can take to get closer to proving what the hell is going on. Remember, those rando mechanized voices that chime in every now and again, those are the spirits in Johnny's basement. Let's dive into the conversation. Johnny, as you know, I spoke with Loyd Auerbach, an absolute expert in paranormal research, to get a crash course in being a paranormal investigator. I showed him some of your videos, and we're going to see if he can help us prove your theory that goes to these splintered spirits and memory fragments. So, you probably know a lot of this already. He breaks down paranormal activity into 3 categories, okay? Apparitions,
Yep.
hauntings, and poltergeists.
19.
Do you know what the difference is between these 3 things? Because
Yes, the poltergeists are basically created from human psyche. Most of the time, it's if someone's in like distress. Classic poltergeist stories are usually teens coming into their hormones and whatnot, and they end up going crazy and creating these psychic entities, if you will, born from their minds.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah, apparitions are a tricky one because certain people you talk to will even claim that living people can be apparitions, where you can have an echo or an imprint of somebody
Cheating.
In a various spot that's still alive.
No, apparitions are ghosts.
Yeah.
That's what apparitions are, ghosts. That's like what most people would call ghosts.
Yeah.
What you're talking about is what he refers to as hauntings, which is living people have left their imprint on a location.
Well, but what I was getting at was that some people, that's where it gets blurry. Some people will say that the hauntings are not living people leaving imprints. Some people will say that it's any sort of horrible emotion experience, living or dead, that affects a surrounding. So that those two last ones can get blurry depending on who you're talking to. I lean more toward how he describes it, so it's not murky. But I know some people listening will be like, "Oh, well, wait a minute. I thought it was this because so and so and blah 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 blah."
Yeah, I think for us, I think let's stick with his definitions of it.
I like his definitions of it. It's more cut and dry.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Well, he told me a great story. He was doing an investigation where this couple moved into a new place, and in the room next door, they kept hearing at 3 a.m. sex, like a couple really going at it and having sex. So Loyd went and investigated the former owners. It was them. Like, they would have hardcore sex at 3 a.m, and they left an imprint in the house.
In the house, yeah.
Which I was like, dude, Those guys really know how to have some sex.
Yeah, for real. Sex, that could be a whole discussion in itself, sexual energy and all that.
Why is sexual energy different than somehow in terms of
Oh,
in the
definitely.
paranormal world?
Oh, definitely. So here, let me give you an example.
Please.
When I go to a cemetery, right,
Mhm.
and I'm talking
Not the
to
segue I was
there are
expecting.
spirits and whatnot, and the spirits are ramped up. You know, they're like super, super ramped up, and they're ramped up in a very sexual manner. They're hitting on me. They're saying nasty things. I know for a fact that somebody was just in that cemetery banging it out. I can always tell. And it's funny, at the end of the
Oh,
live, you see a car driving out of the cemetery, and you usually see a guy and a girl in the car, and it's like, ah, come back. Told you. You
oh
know?
my God.
Yeah, they
That's
feed off it.
classic.
Yeah.
All right. I showed him some of your videos, and, he was like, it's really interesting what he had to say, right? And how we can really test and
Disgusting.
sort of it's like a process of elimination
Okay.
of what we can do. He gave me 5 clear steps to try and hone down what is happening and help figure out what this gift, if you want to call it a gift, is that you have.
Choke.
The doll.
What'd he say?
I have a doll out. I have a doll right here because Edward doesn't like dolls for some odd reason.
Really?
So I have an old haunted doll here, and Edward doesn't
that is
like them.
super creepy.
Yeah.
So it looks like a little baby with half a face in
Yeah,
a what? Like a
spirits knocked it down a while ago and broke it, but it's still, yeah. He doesn't like it very
All
much.
right. So first thing he wanted to do was he was recommending is we find a location that you don't know anything about, that you haven't been to in your area, where it's like you don't know much about, but you've heard it's haunted, that you want to go to.
Where? In my area, Fun. I would have to think about that. I would have to think about
All
it.
right. So we'll and I'll help you look into it too. So we'll find that
It has to
spot.
be a place where I'll be able to not be disturbed as well. That's
Yeah.
the kicker, like.
Yeah. Well, we'll set it up. I mean, we'll do it. We'll figure that out. And then it's also we want to sort of keep it separate, but talk to a witness who's experienced something there, and see how your time there matches up with the witness, right?
So I also have a little data with this. If we're going to be testing me out, I have a little data, obviously, on myself. This doesn't work. This doesn't work well.
Losers like John.
All right. Well, yes, Edward. That's great. This doesn't work well if I have somebody else with me.
No. I would say we keep it separate.
No. That I know, but I'm saying,
First.
like, for some odd reason, other people physically with me affects what I do.
That's interesting.
Whatever it is, whether it's magnetic fields, there's a notable difference in everything. The spirit chatter, direct conversations to me, everything. It almost dulls it down a bit. They still come through. That's not nice.
What was that? That sounded creepy.
Yeah, something just said die, die, die.
What?
Do not.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
I don't know how you sit there in the basement like that.
Oh, I hate this place.
So that leaves me to the set. So that's like points 1 and 2. They go hand in hand. Find a location you know nothing about. See if you get information that matches a witness's experiences, and see if like, wow, okay, now we've got corroboration that this location has something multiple people have, and you've spoken to someone. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The third thing is, and this might, based on what you just said, we'll have to figure out how to pull this off, but like a medium. Have you ever had an actual, like someone, who has this gift, a medium, join you?
No, and for the simple fact that most mediums are full of shit. So it would have to be a credible one. It would have to be a one that, as is it one of these like hocus pocus? Let me pull information from a little bit of information.
No life.
You know what, Edward? We're trying to work.
What did he say?
Yeah. He said we have no life.
He's not wrong. He really isn't that wrong with that. It's like, this is what we're doing, as trying to make a life out of it. But it's like, he is.
So yeah, if we can
So
find a
great.
credible one, because listen,
right.
I do understand that some people
Not feeling well.
You're not feeling well. I'm sorry, Spirit. You have people that do have these gifts, but they're few and far between, and most of them are full of shit. Like remember back in the day, call me now. You remember that, the old Clio commercials?
Yeah.
Call
Yeah,
me
yeah, yeah.
now.
Yes. Well, he gave me a name of someone that he feels is very
Where?
credible that lives, because he's from Westchester. He's from White Plains.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
he lives out by San Francisco now, but he's from White Plains. He gave me a medium in Westchester. I think she might even be in Yonkers that I will reach out to. So, I mean, I feel like we might want to bring her. I mean, I got to figure out how, like, hey, do you want to go to this basement without creeping her out?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
it still might be worth it if we find a good medium. All right. Have you ever? Here's step 4 and you may have done this and tried it. Just to rule out that you yourself are not a medium in any way. Have you ever tried and been able to call an apparition, a ghost, to you wherever you
He
are?
won't leave.
Oh, I could do that instantly.
Count.
But wait, could you get this Edward in your office?
No.
Okay. That's what I'm talking about. Like, can you get an apparition to you?
This is where it gets real interesting. No, I've never tried, but at the same time, I also, from my data and my experiences, know that 99.9% of the time when that happens, it's bullshit. And so here, let me explain. That's called channeling, by the way, when you channel a spirit to an area. I have only had one time a spirit come from another location to find me. Only once. And it showed me a hidden cemetery that I've never been to. It was the most wild thing. I didn't channel that spirit. It literally showed up to find me and say, hey, listen, we need your help with a situation here.
Well, I think what we really need to do then is create a situation where we decide to channel some spirit just to see.
Well, we could try it for this.
It'll eliminate one possibility, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's a legit test. I don't know, we'll break out a Ouija board or something.
Oh, well, that's different. That's different. Spirit boards, that's a tool.
You're a tool. Come on, dude. I don't know all this stuff. You understand what I'm saying. It's like you tell me, like, what do we set up to like channel? Where do we want to go and then try to pull in
Louder.
another spirit that you have a strong connection with anyway to a separate location and see if we could do it.
Wait.
Well, technically, we could do that in my office, and we can try with.
Can you hear it?
We could try with a number of spirits. We could try it with Ann Purdy.
All right.
We could try. We just met a number of spirits we can try it with.
All right. Well, let's we're gonna put some thought into that. We're gonna think that through and get it.
Okay, cool.
And the last one is, which speaks a lot to what you talk about, is you remember how you used to have like videotapes or audio tapes, but if you use a magnet, you can erase them?
Yes.
Lloyd is telling me that they'll use magnets and those big sort of electromagnets to eliminate spirits.
Oh yeah, 100%. So what the magnets do, and I actually know how it works. Well, theoretically, I'm not going to say I know 100%. The magnets dissipate the memory from the spirit particle. It separates the two because I believe these are spirit particles.
Humiliate.
Now, whether a spirit particle is in everything or if it's own individual particle, part of an atom, that I don't know because I don't have any equipment to test any of this stuff out. But I've seen it. I have used magnets in the past, especially during crazy spirit board sessions, to make sure that nothing comes through, that things are locked down. I actually have, when this place was at its worst, all of the entrances and exits had magnets on them to dissipate anything that would try to, if I wanted peace and quiet, I'd throw up the magnets, and I'd have like a shit ton of magnets everywhere. My doors are metal down here, so it was easy for me to throw a bunch of magnets on the door.
Johnny, I want to kill a ghost. So let's find one that you don't ever want to talk to again.
You're technically not killing the ghost, you're just separating its
You know what I'm
memory from the
saying.
spirit.
Please
Yeah.
stop.
But it'll take the ghost, the spirit, time to come back. They're not going to come back instantly.
What do you mean?
Don't worry about it, Edward.
Maybe Edward thinks we're going to kill him.
Yeah, he's getting nervous. It'll take a while for it to come back, but it will eventually come back.
So you think it will come back?
Oh, 100%. It'll just take a while.
Huh.
So we were up at a very haunted location called Letchworth Village. It was basically an insane asylum that was it was the entire village. People that
I
lived
want
there,
to leave.
worked there. The campuses were in the main area, and then all the houses were miles away from each other, but it was still considered one big area. So they called it Letchworth Village. And the place now is extremely haunted. It's, it's obviously it's abandoned. I went down there and I was with a bunch of friends. We went into one of the buildings. This chick I was with, she started not feeling well. Next thing you know, she just stiffens up in the hallway. All right. Now let me paint the picture of what this hallway looks like.
How are you?
This hallway is falling apart. There's stuff hanging from the ceiling. There's stuff all over the floor. Just all paperwork, filing cabinets, chairs. It was just insane. It was insanity, and it's been like that for decades now. So it's all nasty and moldy, and it's an abandoned building that's just falling apart. So it's treacherous. All of a sudden, she just stands still and she's not moving. Now she's a tall woman. She's got an inch on me. I'm trying to get her to come to, and she literally eyes rolling in the back of her, almost like she was having a seizure. And I'm like, holy shit, I got to get her out of this building. So I get her, I grab her, right? And you think, she would just like fold on me? Dude, she stayed stiff. I literally had her like this, balancing her on my shoulder, holding her like this. So my hands are basically like, where her ass meets her legs.
Like a true gentleman.
And I'm trying to go through this building with this chick that's taller than me. We're on the second floor, mind you. All right. So I got her downstairs. I got her out of the building.
Come closer.
All right. We laid her down out in the front of the lawn of one of the buildings. All of a sudden, another dude that we were with starts puking. I don't know how you died, Spirit. I'm sorry. I don't even know who you are. Starts puking. And I'm like, oh, no, no, no. I was like, there's something attacking everybody I'm with. I'm like, this is wild. I'm like, she must be possessed. So I went, and I always keep these things on me when I go to these places. I had one of these magnets, and I went and I put it on the nape of her neck, the back of her neck, and I literally pulled this thing out of her. And what's insane,
It's all insane.
at one point, and there's the eyewitnesses to this, at one point, as I'm pulling this out of her, the magnet was, at least for 2 seconds, was suspended between her neck and my hand, and then snapped back into my hand. And then she came to like this.
That's a wild story about magnets, for sure. But that's another test
Yeah.
that we'll talk about and figure out for, like, we'll go ghost killing, and we're going to kill one and see how well we do. We'll pick one.
I lost.
Johnny, it came down to two things when Loyd was watching your videos. One, are you some sort of tech medium able to connect with apparitions or spirits via your devices? Or two, are you some kind of spectral AI? Meaning, are you able to tap into hauntings, which are these imprints left behind? And, hauntings fits into the idea that memories may be attached to dispersed energy. But then you convert and adapt those imprints, giving them an ability to interact. And the reason I say that is because if we're talking about memories, the one thing and the one little glitch in what you do is you go to cemeteries and you get a lot of spirits there. But people don't remember their cemeteries.
No, not at all.
They were not there.
No.
So are you picking up, let's say, a loved one's grief of that person?
What a mess.
And redrafting it into that person somehow? You're going to these locations, and let's say it's one of these, like the grave of a child, and maybe the parents' grief was so strong, and the parents' memories were imprinted there. But when you go, whatever you got,
Come back.
you are picking up that frequency and interpreting it as the child, but not as the parent. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
Not sure.
That Edward, we're not talking to you, dude. That
He's not sure. He's not convinced.
It does make sense. I also have
Talk.
a theory on it as well. Again, just
Let's
a
hear it.
theory.
No, let's hear it.
Basically just these monuments, these testaments to these people, these final resting place, quantumly attracts these memories. So think of it like focal points. Like a focal point would be a family home.
The thing is, their final resting place couldn't possibly be their focal point.
But their body's there. Or at least it was there.
I will never remember my gravesite because I'll be dead before I'm in it.
Amazing.
I firmly believe that when we die, we get some of our loved ones' memories as well. We've already seen this in science. You know, it's already been proven that DNA memory is passed down. It's already proven that some people that get heart transplants will get the memories of said person they got the heart transplant from.
I want to be clear
like,
here.
these things have happened.
There are, in fact, anecdotal
who's to
transplant
say
cases
that
and heredity lines that
a part of
experience
that
cellular
memory
memory,
break off
where the
and
recipient's
say that
behavior,
breaks
mood,
off.
or taste in food changes, or specific stress triggers passed down, possibly through DNA, but not specific memories. To be Spielbergian about it, Elliot did not share E.T.'s thoughts, but felt E.T.'s feelings. Science! What about this son of a bitch Edward here? Let's ask him why he feels locked to this place that he created so much,
He just said stay.
Yeah, why does he feel he's got to be locked here?
Edward, did you hear that question? Why do you like it here so much? Why won't you leave?
Is he afraid of hell?
His own hell that he would create.
Doorway.
Edward, why are you here?
Jesse.
Who's Jesse? I'm not talking to you, Spirit. I was talking to Edward.
Did they just whisper I'm confused?
Yeah, they did. Edward, why are you here?
Where are you?
Where do you think I am, dude? I'm in the fireplace room. Where are you?
How are you?
Getting pretty annoyed at you right now. Because for once in your life, I'm asking you to cooperate.
Maybe he's not helping out because he's just a model of what his spirit is, and his answers are based on
The information at hand.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think if we go through these 5
Stalker.
tests, we could start to
Getting a semblance of an idea of what's going on.
It's actually getting a little weird that he keeps finishing my
sentences.
Get out of my head, witch.
Insane.
Yeah, and maybe figure out what actually is happening. Maybe you are something brand new to this research, and I only say brand new because the tech didn't exist 40 years ago, And maybe that you're a tech medium who's able to create a language model from imprinted hauntings, which is wild.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's so wild that I don't believe it. You know what I mean?
That wraps up today's episode of Splintered Spirits. In the next one, I'm sitting down with a medium to get a new perspective on what spirits are and to see if she can make heads or tails of what Johnny's doing. In the weeks to come, we'll be putting all of these paranormal investigative steps into practice, so be sure to follow us where you get podcasts and listen to more of the conversation.